Well, first and foremost, I want to welcome back home a student that passed my life a long time ago, Michael Jai White. He's back in the dojo that he trained with and in with me, with a lot of the students. And then I saw him leave, and the rest is history. Okay? So welcome back home, Mike.
Well, thank you. It's great being back home.
So what have you been doing since 1997?
Well, I've been playing make believe. I tend to do this thing where I pretend I'm other people, and I get paid for it, which is really cool. It's a nice job, but you know, it's still I'm a martial artist at heart. I owe all of my attributes, all of my things in this industry to my discipline in the martial arts, and I always think, okay, really coming back home to where you first started training me, it would be in front of your garage.
Wow.
It'd be in front of your garage on the hot concrete.
Oh, many
Yes.
students know that story.
Oh yeah. We trained. I mean, that was something, and I kind of miss those days. But I mean, this is just so beautiful. This is like amazing. A lot better than the concrete in front of your garage. A whole lot better.
Well, you know what? You mentioned that, and I have a series of questions that are going to kind of follow your career. And one of the things I did as a new person doing podcasts, this is new to me also, I said, you know what? I'm going to let the audience that is watching us at home and all over the world, and my audience here, and I'm going to name out all his movies, because he hasn't done that many anyway. I mean, he did The Spawn and Mike Tyson. What else can he have done in 20 plus years? So I printed out his credits, and I said, no, that would be the podcast itself. So he's done 39 movies that I could count, and he's done 21 TV series in that time where I just kept training. That's it. I kept training. So Michael White obviously has done some incredible things. Just to go back, since he mentioned when he met me, I'm going to give you a little background, and then hopefully Michael can fill in some of this stuff. Michael came to California what year?
Around 92.
92. I met you.
93?
93?
93, I believe.
Right, and I give credit to someone who's not here, and he sends his apologies. Eddie Morales,
Yes.
Sensei Eddie Morales, or really Hanshi Eddie Morales, was also one of my students. He's a senior in Goju-ryu, and Michael and Eddie became friends, and they knew each other, and then Sensei Morales came to me and said, hey, you got to meet this guy. He's from the East Coast. And he talked about him and the body, and he's going to be an actor. I said, yeah, right. Just bring him to the garage. And so that's how we met. Sensei Eddie Morales said, you got to meet this guy. He's going to be a somebody someday. And I said, bring him to the garage. That's where we trained. There was no dojo at the time. And that one incident that Michael is talking about was a Saturday. We used to train on Saturdays in my garage. It was Shian Chris, who's in the audience, Kyoshi Edward, who is not here today. These are my two senior students. And we used to train outside. Shian Chris was a blue belt. Kyoshi Edward was maybe a yellow belt. So I didn't have a lot of students, and I had seniors around me. And so Michael came on that Saturday. We trained, and then we were in the garage. And then he said, are we ready to go? He had sneakers on. We all had sneakers. All right, now everybody take off their sneakers. And then we stepped from the shaded area of the garage into the hot concrete.
Yes.
And then Michael did a little soft dance, a little shuffle with his feet. And then we went out running, skipping rope. You remember that one?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Then we went from the concrete, we went to hot pavement, where we used to skip rope up and down the street, my little yellow belt and blue belts. What Michael didn't know was we had calluses on our feet by then, and Michael didn't. So when he hit that pavement, I'm talking about he was skipping fast.
Yeah.
And that was a test, really. It was a test because I had a lot of people who had, from various schools, came to visit me while I was still in the garage. And many of them did not come back because I put them all through the same test. If you can't take that hot pavement, that's where I train, that's where my two lower belts train, then you don't want to train with me. And Michael came back, and I said, this is the martial artist. And he survived that, And he transitioned to this dojo here, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I have pictures of Michael White in here with people from the East Coast getting some shime, sanchin testing. And I thought when he started to get his acting gig, he's not going to last now because he's distracted and he'll be there. But Michael White, to his credit, stayed with me. I believe you took a test.
Oh, yeah.
I believe you took your test in weapons, correct?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, in weapons.
Yeah,
And then I was happy enough to teach him some seunchin. And if you see in one of his movies, he's doing seunchin. I'm going, that's mine.
Yes.
Then I looked for the credits. No Puerto Rican name up there. So, Michael, when you started out with me, you had just recently arrived, a few years from the East Coast. And what most of my students who have heard the stories, and I've talked about you a lot, not from the martial arts side so much, but from this was a young guy who got to California, like many, probably hundreds of thousands of people who say, I'm going to make it in Hollywood. And in our world, action stars. So you've got to have the techniques to make it, and then you have to have the acting ability. And people say, how did he do that? And I say, I haven't the slightest idea, except I remember Michael. I remember his character. I remember his demeanor, his discipline and training. You don't get a body like that by not being disciplined. What do you attribute, like, the most important thing that made you go from Michael in my pavement to Michael, the Hollywood star?
Well, it's really the discipline that you learn here. I mean, it's discipline is that is the nucleus of any success, right? So your biggest obstacle in your life is going to be yourself. No matter what you believe, it's yourself. You have to overcome obstacles. And just like with martial arts, you go from one belt to another. You have to overcome the obstacles. And so that makes you strong. That makes your mind strong. And if you have a strong mind, you can do anything. And so, I had to kind of make a way for myself and plan it out and stick to that plan. And so, I studied acting. I was, prior to coming out, I was doing theater in New York. And so I took it quite serious, but for me to really prosper would take that kind of effort. So I was a martial artist first to my heart, and that's been my secret weapon throughout my life, because it's just like that pavement. It's it's overcoming those obstacles, and you're just going to be better once you do that. So that's why when I saw you, I saw something real. I said, that is true karate. That's true martial arts, and that's what I want. And so I'm going to do what I can to achieve that, and to your satisfaction. So as you know, that's anything you told me to do, I was going to do, and that's really that. A lot of times especially in the States, I mean, as time goes on, we no longer have so much rites of passage. Life has been made a lot easier for folks. I mean, I think that's with every generation, it becomes a little easier. So we don't have the character building stimulus that we have to rail against. And so that's kind of something that the younger audience, the younger generation doesn't even know. They're not supposed to know it, really. All they know is the life that's been in front of them. Everybody, it's all relative. They say, oh, life is hard. It's relative, right? So, but those things, when the creature comforts, they come easier, and life is easier, there's something of the spirit that doesn't get to be worked out. And I was just blessed to have martial arts to be that, because when we're training, hopefully through our training we're overcoming things that are harder to overcome than we see out in our lives. We have to dig deep. You have to make your mind strong to overcome things. And so as I guess life became a bit easier socially, well, then you can prosper a little easier because you have a discipline that's kind of custom made for a harder obstacle, So that in so many ways has been, like I say, my secret weapon, and so the trick is, while I'm traversing my way, Hollywood or whatever, I still keep that very, very close to me to stay disciplined, to stay training. You're still someone I look up to because you are representing where I want to be when I'm your age. I didn't want to say it like that. Well,
easy, Michael. Easy.
Yeah. He's only about. You only got me about 4 years, or no, maybe a little bit more. No, but seriously, but no, it's that's the thing. You're a living proof of the virtues of martial arts, because that's why you look the same as you did the last time I was here. So that's what I want for me.
Well, you got some of it. You got a good wife. I got a good wife.
Yes, yeah.
You train hard. I train hard.
Yes.
You have money. I don't. We'll talk about that one later on during the show. Mm-hmm. You talk about that martial arts, and you were already a martial artist before I found you, before you came to me, because I know about your background. Can you talk a little bit about your early influences as a young man, as a teenager?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up I was originally from Brooklyn, New York, and then lived in Bridgeport, Connecticut. But like a lot of martial artists, I was attracted to martial arts because I was insecure. I was dealing with a harsh environment, and I needed to build up my armor. And along the way, even though I wanted this power over other people or anybody that threatened me, I got way beyond that. I became. I think it helped me quell and conquer where my insecurity was lying, and so that's something that I think is very, very fortunate, because you start to really kind of look outside yourself a bit, and because you're in the dojo, you have to be humble, and so it's not about your ego, so that puts you in a great place to learn, and so it's been something that is a cornerstone of my life, and I'll train when I'm 80, So
that's about 20 years older than me right now.
Mm.
That was a joke. Well, when I met you, you've changed to a husband, a father. I follow you a lot.
Oh.
Your husband, your father, and of course you're an actor. The martial arts and the discipline that you learn in the martial arts, and I agree, that discipline should be the cornerstone of everything else you do, because without the discipline, that everything else just crumbles.
Yes.
It's a foundation.
Yes.
Okay? But how's it affected you as a daddy and as a husband?
Oh, I mean, the discipline affects it's. I remember when life was harder, so my life feels like a sitcom, because I'm equipped for a lot more dramatic things than really I face. I married the right woman. That's the best thing that ever happened to me. She's my best friend. Our daughters say that we're their relationship goals.
Very nice.
And I have the older sons now who have their families, and I'm a grandfather of 6.
No way.
Yeah.
Grandfather of 6?
Yep, and great grandfather of 2.
Wow.
Yeah.
Never would have, right?
Yeah.
He looks so young.
Well, it's called starting early.
Oh, okay. That's not one of my questions, Michael.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and a lot of you rubbed off on me. I mean, the beauty I saw surrounding you and that I still see in your life. I wish that for everyone, and I was blessed to be in your orbit.
You said something to me years ago, and it was it was right after Spawn, and you had just got another gig, and you did it, and you came back to train, and then we sat in the office, and you said to me, Shihan, I would give everything I have today to be you today. Switch lives. I'm ready. Norma, you're going home with Michael. But I remember him saying that to me, and it made me very humble that a guy who is going up, he did the Spawn movie, and I was honored and privileged to be on that red carpet with him when he did that movie. And I see Michael going up and say, wow.
Yeah, I still got the pictures.
One in a million.
I still got the pictures of you and your wife at the Spawn premiere. We had a great time.
Yes, we did.
But that's the thing. It's funny because I see you're saying, oh, on the way up and all that kind of stuff. It's all relative to me, man. Really, it's like I'm anybody who's doing something that they want, they love. Whether if you were a photographer and that's what you love to do, and you're doing it. If you were a mail carrier and that's what you love and you love to do it, we are all equal. We are all the same. We're successful because we are doing what was in our hearts. And so that makes me no different, absolutely no different. More money, more problems. You know how that can go in a lot of ways. But it's what success is what you have. This is your world. This is what you wanted to do, and you succeeded at it. I am no different. We both have achieved what we set out for. That's success. And I could easily say the same thing about you, but you've been successful far longer than I have. And your success is right out there. Your children, what you've done. I know so many household names that their lives have nothing, they're nowhere near as successful, and they may have $500 million in the bank. You understand?
I understand.
And they would give it all to have what you have.
Well, thank you for that compliment.
It's just the truth. It's the truth.
Thank you. Well, I'm a very content man, and I know that I agree with that statement that we self-actualize in each world that we live in.
Yeah.
And it's terrible when you have to compare one world to the other because they have no reference. It's just in your world that you become the best you can be.
Yeah, that's all. If you're doing your best, we're all equal. I know I happen to be in an industry that people make a big deal of because you happen to, everybody happens to witness my work, because, and I inherit the mantle of, we grow up being impressed by something called movie stars, right? That's a status symbol because you star in a movie. That's something that's learned and something I benefit, my family benefits from, and it's a unique job. Not many people get a chance to do it, but it's still, like I said earlier, I'm pretending I'm other people. For real, I'm pretending I'm other people, and I can't make it more important than other things. I used to be a school teacher. Still to this day, I think that's far more important, right? What I did as a school teacher, that was something I was very proud of. And, for a long time, if somebody didn't know me, I would never admit I was an actor. Because there's a connotation of something that's just frivolous and surface and narcissistic, possibly. I didn't think being an actor was a plus. to say, hey, that's what I do, because sometimes it's it can be not the most virtuous thing. So honestly, I love what I do. I love what I do because it's I don't just think of it as acting. I write, I produce, and of course the acting part too. But yeah, I take the compliments, but I still feel I have a foothold in reality.
Mm-hmm. Very important.
Yeah, that I am playing a role. It's a great job, fun job. But now, am I the best actor? It's no way I could say that, because a lot of it depends on what you look like, who you knew, all that type of stuff. There are somebody who may not fit my build or whatever could be a far more superior actor. So therefore, I don't think any actor should be egotistical, because you got there by certain criteria. The way you look, the way you've traversed, how you got there. Not saying that there's no talent, but and whenever, if you're the lead actor, you have every department on the movie making you look good. There's a makeup artist there. There's the sound. There's the lighting, all that type of stuff to make you look fabulous. And that's not you. That's other people. And there's the writing. Those aren't your words. Somebody wrote those to make you look like you're smarter. So when I'm in this industry, I still look at it from the standpoint of who I have always been, just a person rooted in reality, and go, wow, this is great. Thank you, but a lot of people went into that image of making me look like I can't be beaten or whatever. So that's just reality. And I think everybody does better keeping a foothold in reality. And,
well, when you talk about reality, you talk about what you've done since you started out your adventure.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say, if I had it all to do again, I wouldn't do that, or I regret this? Do you have any of those?
No, I don't. No, I don't have any regret. As long as I've kept going and following what was in my heart, I don't regret one thing.
Wow. That's exactly what I've told my students when they ask me, do you regret anything getting to where you are as a Hanshi, and you got this and you got that? And I say exactly the same thing. I was hoping you'd say the same thing. That if you are content to where you are and proud of what you are, then everything you've done in that transition made you that.
Oh, yeah.
And if you change any of that, like a domino system,
exactly,
then it changes how you come out.
Yeah.
Now, if you're not happy, then you do get a lot of regrets.
I'm thankful for all the adversity and all the times that really sucked, because if I didn't have those, I wouldn't appreciate what I have now as much. So those are blessings. As long as you've got your health, oh my goodness, you've got your health and you can continue, and you're doing something like this that can maintain your health as long as possible. Then wow, man, if you put a dollar value to that, I mean, there's no dollar value to that.
Absolutely, absolutely. What? There's a lot of people going to be seeing this, and a lot of people know you, and you've done major things with podcasts. I know I'm a small guy doing a small podcast, and you've been asked a lot of questions from a lot of people, but I always like to know, you've made it this far. Someone will see this someplace in some country who's a martial artist and says, I could be a Michael White.
Oh, absolutely.
I could be a Michael White, especially after they hear you talking this way about, hey, I'm just the same guy I was 25 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
what advice would you give that martial artist? And I say that martial artist because we're martial artists.
Yes.
Okay. This is not an acting class. It's not an acting podcast. I'm a martial artist. You're a martial artist. Everyone in the stand here is martial artists. People watching you. What would you say to that young boy or girl sitting and watching this and saying, "I wonder, could I be him?" What would you say to that person?
Oh, absolutely. But you'd have to really find out what it is that you want to be. You know, someone may like something about my lifestyle, but it would be a tragedy if they're going for that only because they see the fluff. Basically, it's kind of like this. When I went to college, I thought I was going to go into law. I was thinking about political science and with engineering, all these things that that you're supposed to do that lead to success. But if I reflect back, when in 3rd and 4th grade, I used to put on puppet shows for the class. If the class behaved, they'd be treated to my puppet shows. I created the puppets. I did the stories and everything. All right. When I was 10 years old, I was shooting my own Super 8 films and editing them, even though I didn't realize I was editing them. I would edit them in the camera. Nobody told me to do this, right? And then while in college, I'm political science major, but I always snuck in an acting class because I was fascinated with it. So, well, you know what? Deep down, I wanted to do what I'm doing now. It took a while to figure that out and said, hey, this is what you want. This is what's in your heart. It's been in your heart since you were 3, since you were in 3rd grade. Well, luckily I found that. And basically I was shown the truth of really what I wanted to do. Instead of doing the things that were told to me that was the smart thing to do. Okay? So basically, I go to work and I don't think about getting paid. I love what I do, right? And so that, I know you've heard these things. What is this? If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. That's true. Imagine, just like I love martial arts, nobody ever had to tell me to train. Did they ever have to tell you to train?
My wife says, don't train.
Right, exactly.
Stop, you're going to kill yourself.
And so to find something that's in your heart that you're passionate about and then to get to have that as part of your living, what a blessing. Absolutely. So that is what it is. That kid I was at 10, or 13, I'm just a grown-up version of that now. I had all these obstacles and distractions only to come back to the true nature of who I am. Now, I want that for anybody. For that young kid, that young martial artist, I want him to figure out who he was. What was he doing at 3? What was he doing at 10 years old that nobody had to tell him to do? Okay? What is that? What is your specific gift that you would do for free? That's what it is. That's what I think unites us and why you're so successful and I'm successful. The life that I wished I had as a kid, I have that now. The family aspect, where you can't wait to get home. You can't wait to be around your loved ones. That's something that is priceless. And if you don't have that, wow. But for me, that's something that was like my biggest dream. Like I say, my wife is the best thing that ever happened to me because all the other good stuff is better.
Because of that.
Because of it, yeah. So, I feel like that's where my success is in life right there. And so with the doing what I do for a living, that makes me, maybe the happiest person I know, one of the happiest people I know, because of that. And so success is more attributed to your happiness than any other monetary value
Absolutely.
at all.
I agree
So
with you.
I would hope people what they would see in me as a content, happy person, and when they say I want to be like him, be like me with that. But you have to find what motivates you.
What motivates you?
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's in the research that I did to get prepared for this, I saw a lot of your podcasts, stuff that's been done in the past and recent, and a lot of controversy in your world with the martial artists that are in that world. People, no names need to be mentioned, but people, the actors from different styles, and then talking about each other and who's a real martial artist and who is not, and so on. And I promised my director, my wife, that I would not get into any of that because that's not what I want to get into. What I do want to get into is when you go into the world that you're in now, from the world that you came from, like the days with me here, where Spawn wasn't even made yet, and now you're in this world, and you're trying to hold on. In fact, I remember one of the conversations we had, that I told you, and I remember it, not to lose your traditional values as you get into a world that is very eclectic, very non-traditional, temptations and pitfalls and stuff that you'll have to navigate. So Michael Jai White is the Michael Jai White I remember running down my pavement, although now you've got all these credits and you're independently wealthy. Are you that same Michael White that ran on that pavement with me?
Absolutely. Like how you just mentioned, your wife has to tell you not to train. I don't know if this is a learning disorder, but every day of my life, I don't remember that I'm an actor. I can't, to this day, be conscious of that because I just think of myself as a person. And sometimes it gets me into little weird situations because I'm going, why are you staring at me? Do we have a problem? And they're like, are you Michael Jackson? Oh, yes, yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. That happens. I'm getting better. But I never walk around thinking that somebody knows who I am. So it's just weird because my heroes were never actors. And so like day to day, I know it a little bit more when I go out of town, right? Because in LA, people are a little more, laid back. They're kind of used to seeing folks. But when I go out of town, it's just like, sometimes it'll start a big uproar because they're not used to seeing people that they see on TV. But I'm I'm chronically the same person. Like, I haven't learned to do anything different, and I wouldn't change that. I loved being who I was and am, and it's kind of like that the thing was like the things that you really there's a book, the best things you needed to know you knew at 5. It's still like I won't lie no matter what. That's not a thing that is popular in Hollywood because people lie all the time. I just won't. I will never betray who I am. I've gotten worse with that. I don't even lie by omission, which is terrible. A friend says, "Oh, I want you to see my movie." And I'm like, "Do you want me to see your movie?" Because I'm going to tell the truth. So I have to adhere to who I am. So yeah, no, nothing has changed, nothing at all, and I don't think it will ever, because I don't think there's a need to change. I'm very happy being the same person.
You can clap for that one. Yeah.
Thank you.
In case the audience doesn't know, I've got an audience that's sitting behind me also. As who you've become, as you evolved into Michael Jai White, the actor, and you look at martial arts behind the cameras, because you see, I've seen the guys who train with you. I've seen all these great, these great martial artists doing these stuff that they do.
Yeah.
How much of that is real and how much is just the angles of the camera?
Well, that's interesting. It depends on the movie. All right, some movies are a lot more realistic. I'm hoping, like, now that I'm producing and I'm controlling more of what I do, I'm going to be making fight scenes look much more real. Because now I'm in a place where I can control the choreography. And so that's a place that fight scenes need to go. I am so tired of, like, someone gets hit and they spin around 3 times, and it's like, or someone starts flipping. It's like, come on, I've been doing this for too long, and that's just a place where it needs to start going, to where you show the kime, the true stuff, where you see, like Never Back Down 3. That's my movie. That's me. I directed that movie as well. So, that's why I have that scene that's a love letter to traditional martial artists that, when I'm doing the bunkai within the fight.
Just so the people who don't know exactly what that meant, you were doing which kata?
Well, it's a combination. I did a part of, which ones was it? I did Anan. It was part Anan, Saunchin, and which one? I'm trying to think.
And I forgave him from Anan because that's not Goju.
Right.
But I forgave him for that one.
Yeah. I kind of mixed because I really wanted to represent a wide range of martial arts. So I did Anan from Shituru, of course, Saunchin, and I think I did a few moves from Kyokushin as well.
Of course, he has a black belt in the system of Kyokushin. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was very proud when you were doing the, and I can't remember the movie, maybe it is.
Oh, I thought you were about to say the Nicki Minaj video.
Since you brought that one up, I don't remember signing a release. So just to bring you up to date on this one, I'm in my office and I get this frantic phone call from one of my students. Oh my God, you gotta look at turn on this. And I didn't know who the singer was.
Right.
So they mentioned the singer and I didn't know who she was.
Yeah.
So I had to write it down, Nicki Ma what? And so I'm looking for this online. I'm going, what's it? I'm not gonna tell you, you just gotta see it. You'll be so proud. Well, okay, Nikki, Hubi, and Bob. So I find it, and it's a rap singer, right?
Yeah.
Nikki, a famous female, a beautiful female, and the whole thing
Everybody
is...
but you knows who Nicki Minaj
is. Too much in the dojo.
Okay.
So I turned it on. It's a beautiful woman in a beautiful setting, and it's like a samurai. Right?
Yes.
It's like back in Japan.
Yeah.
But they're not Japanese, right? And she's singing a beautiful song, and I know it's romance. I'm going, what am I looking at this for? And then Michael White walks down like the man. And she's singing about her love, I guess, about you.
Yeah.
And it's her and another female fighting for him, like I guess they always do. And he's walking down, and I said, oh, he's got a black jacket on. That must be one of my students. And then he turns and I see my patch.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm proud, then I call my lawyer. Can I get anything out of him for this? He said, no, you can't. But I tell you what, one of the proudest moments was that moment when I saw you walk down with a black top. Yes. Was that my belt too?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I got to get something. I got to get something out of this.
Yeah.
And then the patch, and I just wrote to everybody. I copied the link. I sent all over the world. There's Michael. There's Michael. And people say, who's Michael? Don't worry about it. Look at the patch. Look at the patch. Yeah. Very proud moment for me.
Well, thank you. I'm happy that you were proud.
Oh, I was proud.
I was proud to wear it. And it's little. If anybody sees this video,
all of you,
yeah, a little behind the scenes, right? I'm walking down and I'm like instructing this class, right? But just to let you know, what I was really saying was I was explaining how to do the hokey pokey. while I was walking down there, and so because I'm kind of a little nutty, so but that's what was really going on. I was testing to see if everybody could keep a straight face.
When did she pick you specifically
Yes.
for that part? Number one,
Yeah.
and two. In reality, why did you get dressed up in that one? And why not a white uniform? Why not a pink uniform? Why not a?
Well, because I wanted to represent you.
That's what I want to hear.
Yes.
Well, you did that in fine fashion, and I do know who she is now.
Yes. Okay.
But at the time, I didn't know Nikki. I
Yeah.
didn't know Nikki. So, my director, how are we on time, sir?
Good.
We're good? Fantastic. Okay. The next one is I've seen, this only goes up to 2016. And I know you've done more than that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm not interested in what you've done, but I'm sure everyone's interested in what you're about to do.
Oh, well, you know what? This is going to preempt. What is it? When does this come out? Is it live?
Depending on when you tell me it comes out.
Okay.
2 years from now.
No, well, I've officially become a studio boss.
What does that mean to the average person?
Yeah. Kind of like I've started an actual studio that I'm opening, and it's going to be like 14 sound stages.
Wow.
And we're right now building a studio. One of the sound stages is going to have something. It's kind of technical, but it's the 360 LED screen projection, which is like a really upgraded virtual reality kind of thing. It's kind of like if anyone saw The Mandalorian, I'm building that stage. So we're doing, a total studio build.
Wow.
And it's called Gigantic.
That's the name of your studio? Gigantic.
JAI Gantic.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah.
Michael Jai White.
Yeah.
So this is the first.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I
think they call this a scoop.
Yes. I honestly, on Tuesday, I fly to Connecticut and it's going to be the official opening.
Wow. Congratulations,
Thank you.
Mike.
Thank you.
Studio head.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Whew. Okay, I got no questions after that one. So are you working on any film projects?
Yeah, I have 6 movies coming out. There's something coming out Tuesday. Oh boy, which one is that? I believe
It's bad when you lose count and when you forget which is which.
Yeah, because it's kind of like once I'm done with something, I don't really.
You just move on.
Yeah, I don't really think about it. But on the 11th, Tuesday. Oh, I think the 11th is a movie called Send It. Yes, it's called Send It, and it's it's going to be on all those different platforms. It's about kite surfing. Yes.
Wait a minute. Kite like
surfing.
kite and surfing.
Well, it's like you're on a surfboard that's attached to a kite, and you're flying like a kite.
Okay.
It's a competition, and
when does the wheel kick come in?
it doesn't come in on this one. It's I'll tell you, it's an interesting role because the lead kid, it's a coming of age sport kind of movie. Yeah, sport competition movie. And the trailer is out, and oh boy, I'm blanking on some names here, but I play the custodial parent of the lead kid. So it's as if the backstory is the child's father was my best friend in the Navy SEALs. He passes away, and I leave to raise his son. And I believe it's the first movie where a black man raises a white child.
And the black man doesn't do one kick.
No, not
No
one
kick.
kick. No kick. Yeah, I've never personally, I've never seen that before, and it was really a milestone to me because the producer and director told me, Michael, we were looking for someone to play this role, and you were our first choice, regardless of race. Wow. We didn't think about race. We just thought, who had these attributes to be believable as a hardened soldier, yet a nurturing father, and you won out. And so that is, I feel it's a milestone because this is what so many people have struggled for so long. There's something that Martin Luther King said, I want to be judged for the content of my character. And this was a part of his dream, that people are judged for the content of their character and not the color of their skin. This has happened. This has actually happened.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
well, we definitely won't talk about the times that we're in right now, where that seems to be a big issue.
Yeah, but the thing is, we get so used to kind of like we're on a negative default setting. Let's put some energy in the positive stuff. When that happens, let's put that on blast too. That's the problem. And maybe I'm just an optimist, but I do believe in my heart there's far more positive. There's far more beauty in the world than not, than negative. It's just that the negative gets all the attention, and we don't hold up the positive enough. And because, hey, the news, the media, negative sells. If it bleeds, it leads, is a term that the media has. Well, my goodness, it's colored people's world in a very dark way. And I think I want to be part of the energy that looks at things, I think, in the true way. There's far more love and there's far more positive in this world than there is negative.
Absolutely.
Yes, there is. And for anything negative, you can tell me, I will give you 10 things positive. Yes. So I believe that's not just being an optimist, that's being a realist. I just want for everybody to open your hearts and your minds and resist what society is trying to do to you, because they know if they talk about some tragedy that folks tend to click onto that. The news is, hey, here's something terrible that happened somewhere that you'll never be, but we'll tell you about it. Well, think about all these other places. Think about how many people are kissing their loved ones goodnight and good morning. What's that number look like? What's that number look like? How many people have dinner and with their family, have what you have? That's the majority right there.
That's true.
Yeah, but we're not paying attention to that.
Again, it doesn't sell.
And it doesn't sell.
It doesn't sell.
So we can allow these times to drag us down so they can make money off us, but we have the power to rail against that. And I am definitely somebody who, if it's in my power, I'm gonna be a counter to that.
Oh, that's good to hear. I want to tell you a story. You want to clap for that? I want to tell you a story that you don't know. And there's a technique I taught you with the tunfas. You remember that, right?
Okay.
And I used to flip it over.
Oh, okay.
Right? And I taught you that. Okay. And you were amazed by it. You were very impressed that I could do that. And then Michael goes out into his world, and I don't see him for maybe a couple of years. But I see the movies he's making, so I know he's all right. And then one day he comes back to the dojo unannounced, just pops in the door. And he could not wait to show me that move that I taught him. And he said, I almost remember the words. You taught me that. Have you ever thought about flipping it backwards?
Right.
And I went, what was that again? Do that again. And so I taught him, flip the tunfa this way,
Right.
which I'm pretty famous for. And just to give credit, I got that from a book from Fumio Demura.
Ooh.
When his book came out, and I was a white belt. And I saw that little move, to give credit to Sensei Demura. He put it in, it was in pictures, so it wasn't even a video. And then you see the different pictures of him flipping, boom, 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 boom. And I copied him, and I said, man, I love that move. And I taught it to every student I could. Every student that does tunfa with me knows that move. And Michael comes in one year and says, you do that pretty good. Do you do this one? And he flips it backwards. I'm going, what did you just do? He says, bet you can't do that one. So sometime today, I'm going to take my tunfas out, and I'm going to show him how good I am going back and forth. I've done about 900 nonstop.
Oh, I
and
believe you.
everyone in the world that does tunfa with me
Yes.
knows the story of Michael White
Ooh,
and
wow.
the flip back. I give you credit for that one.
Well, thank you.
I give you credit for that one.
Yeah, and in the movie, oh boy, Falcon Rising. Did you catch it?
No, did you do that move?
Yeah, like right. I flip up, and the Japanese guy with the samurai sword. I kind of take him out with it.
Oh, Michael, we need to talk about royalties.
I do the flip, and I attack him with the handle part.
Director, can you write down that movie, Falcon Rising
Yes.
Royalties? No lawsuit. I love the guy. I get more loving than I do hating. Well, the story is, I tell everybody, and I'm serious. This is all over the world now. Even people I don't even know will post a video because they've seen me do it hundreds of times, and they don't even know me. And they go, look, I'm practicing that move.
Wow.
And then a handful go, I'm trying the back, but the thing keeps flying out of my hand. So I just want you to know that what he taught me, I've passed it on to generations of students doing the same thing.
Wow.
So I just want you to know that you taught your teacher.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I'm honored. I'm honored.
Well, I think we have audience participation. Now, what I need to know from my director, do we do that as part of this continuous, or do we stop and then... We'll stop and do that. Okay, so before we stop, obviously, I want to thank my student, and I still always consider him my student, Michael Jai White. He's a very busy man. I knew that. And when I sent this request out to him, I said, he'll be polite, he'll be respectful, but I'm sure he's too busy to do this. And when you responded back, it brought a tear to my eye. I wanted to know that.
Oh, wow.
I said, wow, Michael has time to do a little stuff like this.
Well, yeah, luckily, now, finally, I'm more in control of my schedule. Before, and a lot of people who know about the acting thing, well, you got to jump through hoops. And now I'm kind of creating the hoops.
Very nice.
Yes.
Very nice. Student, senpai, sensei, and now a Hanshi for movies. How you like that one, huh?
Thank you.
Well, let's run down a little bit about what's about to happen. We're going to have a Q&A with the audience. I'm sure my students have questions they'd like to ask Michael that were not covered. After that, we have 2 demonstrations. I wanted to show Michael what I've done with 2 populations. I've got great students. I have many great students that are here today, but only 2 are going to get the chance to perform, and that is my little, look at him putting up that little hand of his. That's Tiago, who is only a private student. He's never been in the class.
Oh, wow.
Private students, been with me, Mom, how long? About 10 months. And I told him he has a future ahead of him. It kind of reminds me of when you're talking about at 3 and 4, I did this. At 6, at 5, I found him 10 months ago doing wushu. And I told the parents, if I can get my hands on him, he'll be on the national team within 5-10 years. So that's why he's going to perform for you. And then I've got Kevin Rodriguez, who's been with me, Mom, 10 years? 12 years. A Down syndrome boy who's about to go for 4th degree black belt.
Oh,
Only 2 Down syndromes have done that. And he is on the USA national team for para.
Oh, wow.
He's about to fly out to Dubai to compete in the World Championship. Chicago first, and then overseas. Right? Oh, well, there goes your 4th-degree black belt test. So I want Kevin to show you a 5th Dan kata, Kororumfa.
Oh, yes.
He's going to do that kata for you. And then we're going to have a little bit of eating because Mrs. Marquez, Mama said we have to feed Michael and your guests, so we're going to do that too. And then, obviously, you'd like to have a photograph with Michael. True or false? True. Yes, I'm sure you do, okay? Forget about the $25 per photograph. That was only a joke. $12.50. Andre, can you stand up? That's your biggest fan in the world.
Nice to meet you, Andre.
And Andre, after this meeting, do not bring him up to me again. That's it. You've met the man. Get off my back. So, Michael, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm proud to say you're one of my students. I'm super proud of how you conducted your life and the way you've maintained your ethics, your morality, your core that we talked about a long time ago. You haven't wavered one bit. It's proud to see that.
Thank you. Thank you
really
so much.
proud to see that. Would you like to say some parting words to the people who will see this on the podcast and to the audience who came out here to support you today?
Well, thank you, podcast audience, and hopefully you've extracted something that we've said here that will enhance your life, and that's us operating at our best and fullest potential. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you.
Go ahead and first person.
Uncle Jay, right?
Yes.
I love your movie called Molakame movie in 2021. I love your scenes. I love it, and I enjoy your movie. I like the scenes from when you to fight against somebody in on that movie. I love your fighting stances. I like it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Uncle
saying
Jay,
that.
right? You're welcome.
Thank you. All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello, sir. I just wanted to know, were you black belt before you started with Hanshi Marquez?
Yes, I was.
What did you study?
Well, I had black belts in Taekwondo, Shotokan, Kyokushin, and Tang Sudo by that time, yes.
Yeah, and you had, when did you start martial art? How old were you when you started?
I was about 8 years old,
8 years
seven or eight.
Okay, and that's in Brooklyn, East Coast. That's
Yeah. That was with that was under I first started with Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. It was under visitation system, and but then I didn't get the black belt in that. My first black belt was in Shotokan.
okay, great. Well,
Yes,
so
yeah.
you're awesome. Okay, good.
Thank you.
All right, I'm done.
Okay, quick question.
Yes.
So I come from Japanese Goju-kai.
Okay.
So actually, I was curious because I remember. Oh, sorry. I remember like a few of your interviews when you had said you were doing Goju. So I was just curious as to where you did Goju. And originally, I thought you did Goju in New York. So when I saw that old picture of you and Hanshi Morales.
Yes.
And Hanshi, I said, okay, so where is this at? So that's how I came here. So I switched from Japanese Goju to Okinawan.
Okinawan, yes. Yeah. So it was in the same system with Eddie Morales, and also I did Goju with Grant Campbell as well. Yeah.
Okay, I never heard of him.
Oh yeah, he was out of New York as well.
New York. Okay.
Yeah.
So just my quick question was, what do you prefer, like exercise wise, like Goju warm-ups or Kyokushin warm-ups?
Warm-up wise, well, I would say Kyokushin because that's a bit more. It's I think it's a little bit more encompassing of the entire body, a bit more. And I started with that one. That was an earlier one as far as warm-ups. And do you mean like Kihon, or do you just mean
just stretching, Kihon, Bonkai?
Oh well, if you're saying stretching, it would be the opposite, the other way around. Because I mean, with Kyokushin, the stretching is not stressed as much. But as far as Kihon and the warm-ups overall, probably Kyokushin.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
You doing good, Mr. Olson? Okay. So I wanted to ask you, have you ever had a time in your life where you didn't have the motivation to do martial arts?
No, I think I loved martial arts from the beginning. I when I would finish, when I'd get a black belt in one style, I would tend to try to train in another one. I think it's kind of an analogy of life to me. I never want to look at life from one perspective. I always want to look at things from each perspective and know a little bit about what makes that other discipline special. So I never did lose my motivation for it. I still love it, and I still can't wait to train when I do.
Okay. Another question that I had was, as someone who grew up enjoying acting and theater and all that, what kind of advice would you give? Because my oldest is 10. Mm-hmm. He wants to get into acting. Mm-hmm. And so what advice would you give to a kid like him?
Well, I would say even if someone wants to act, I would encourage them to learn the other attributes of the business. Learn how to write. Like, write your own story. Learn a little bit about directing and the lenses and all that type of stuff. It will help you be a better actor, because then you're always going to be dealing with other other departments, right? So it helps you really grasp what's necessary. I think the collaborative element of movie making, television making, goes better when everyone knows a bit about all the other roles. I always encourage people to, you learn your area, but have respect for the other areas as well.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Elements right. Man. If you do recognize me, I am St. Ministry, Southern California. Man. I was born with Down syndrome because I have a disability of my own. Well, I was second-degree black belt in karate here at the dojo, and I made it to Sadan because I like to enjoy that in my life. Well, it's right. I was both Down syndrome because God made me, because it is my gift. Because my gift to you, like, how do you become famous? Because you're a movie star, you're a pop star. Because, for me, in my life, for me, man, I like to be a cop someday. How do you become famous?
Well, it's like, you just do your best, and sometimes when you do your best, other people start to notice, and then it just happens that way. And
right.
Yeah, so it's about doing your best, and I think no matter what, that's the goal in anything. if you tried your best, that means you're a winner.
Yes.
Yeah, so you always try your best.
Anyone? Tiago, you got a question? Come over here. Of course, we're going to have to pick you up because the cameras won't see you. All right, go ahead.
What's your favorite kata?
My favorite kata? I think my favorite kata is, Sanchin. Sanchin.
I got a picture of
Yeah.
Mr. White, gi off, body sweaty, going like this, and I was having fun of that. And I could not move him. So that's a good answer. Sanchin is the number one kata for health. Good answer, kid. All right, Tiago, you want to bow, Mr. White?
Let's
I had two questions. One, do you ever watch your own movies? And then, do you have a favorite movie that you've made?
Yeah, I have watched. I watch my own movies, not more than once, really. The movies I direct, I have to watch them a lot. So, but my favorite movie is Black Dynamite that I did because I wrote it and it all came out of my imagination. So. That's more fun to me because, of course, it's, I created out of nothing. So so that would be my number one. I think the number two would have to be. I think it's funny, but the number two would have to be Undisputed 2. I think that's my number two, though.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine, yourself?
My name's Kiana. Nice to meet you.
You as well.
I was wondering if you ever competed in your martial arts career and what your opinions are about the competition life.
Yes, I competed quite a bit when I was younger, and in a way, I feel like when I was competing, when I was a fighter, I was less of a martial artist. And I'll explain it like this: I was a good fighter because I was born with certain gifts. I was a really fast guy at the size I was. But I wasn't a complete martial artist because I was just doing what I enjoyed. I think complete martial artist is somebody who strives to be the best martial artist all the way across the board, which is one of the reasons why I trained and I committed so deeply to training with Hanshi Marquez, because yes, I had the fighting ability. My technique was not where it should be. And training with him and doing the weapons, which is an extension of your technique, that made me a much better martial artist all the way around. So so I felt like to apply into life, there's things that you always, to be best, there are things that you need to do that is not the most comfortable. And so that's for the ethics of martial arts, you're supposed to be well-rounded. Now, when I was a fighter, even my instructors made a big deal of me fighting. Well, a lot of that just was natural, which to me is not what you should be doing, not what should be praised so much. So, so that's my view on the competition part. Sometimes it can intrigue somebody to values that should not be the values of a complete martial artist. Mm-hmm. So it's somewhat of a trap to make you very limited to only one aspect.
Yeah. I have one more question. So did you only compete in fighting, or did you compete in kata too?
Oh yeah, I competed in kata too.
Some simchin action.
Yeah, because like I say, I fighting was very natural for me. I was very good at it. So when I started working on my technique in kata and weapons, I became a far better fighter because I was even more in control of my body. Because then if my body did what my mind willed it to do. So if I can be meticulous in that kata, like the guy half my size, I could move better. But you see how the tendency is, big guy, they don't think about their form, because they're a big guy.
Yeah, they got
power. So that's limiting them. So it's like if you're on one side of the spectrum, you want to achieve the other end of it.
Definitely.
Yeah, so you're much more complete, and I think that's a good way to look at life.
Nice. Okay, I have one more question, and I'll get out of your hair. So my question is, what made you step foot in the dojo when you very first started your martial arts journey?
Insecurity.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of course. To be honest with you, I was an insecure kid. I mean, I was, I didn't know I was an artist at the time, but everything affected me tremendously. And I needed something, because my environment was harsh. And it really affected me. And so I had to put my energy in something that would make me strong from the inside. I didn't know this at the time. I wasn't that insightful. But I know later, understanding my pain and, wanting to be destructive. So it luckily was the remedy for what was ailing me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
You as well. Yeah.
Double.
Oh, dang.
We're gonna go even out. Although I am proud.
Yes. Awesome.
I am proud.